Hello and welcome to another episode of GameGuru MAX live broadcasting internal development. That was a dramatic pause because I couldn't remember whether I clicked go live stream, but of course I did because I checked it 5 minutes ago. As you've noticed in the most recent of broadcasts, we're doing a 5-minute splash screen just so everyone can be aware that we are broadcasting on YouTube's broadcasting network, and everyone can find it and tune in and won't miss the first couple of minutes. Not that it's hugely interesting in the first couple of minutes, it's just me saying hello and waffling on and waxing lyrical. But I just want to check that, well, two things really. One, I actually am streaming, and two, that everyone can hear me fine. I discovered a software mute button on my microphone, and I want to make sure I've not accidentally unmuted myself, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to check my chat window, which will be around here somewhere. Wow, there's quite a lot of questions going on. I guess the 5 minutes of people waiting for the broadcast to start hasn't stopped people asking questions. Okay, so we're looking at the top. Hi, no sound. Sound is fine for me. I hear the music. So I'm going to have to go further down to see. Thanks, Preben. I can hear you. Stephen Alva. Yes, you can be heard. We can be heard. I am broadcasting fine. So I'll just say it again. For the top of the page, welcome to GameGuru live broadcast. This is broadcast number 39. As usual, you are free in the live chat to ask your questions, and I will be delighted to answer them towards the end of this live session. Any questions that I don't get to, I will post as text answers in the GameGuru forums, together with a recording of this broadcast. Another little piece of extra news that I noticed as I was setting up the broadcast is we have reached the lofty heights of 8,000 subscribers. A tiny little figure compared to the YouTube stars of the day, but nonetheless a very nice number. Can you imagine a bushel with 8,000 apples in it? 8,000 is a nice number, so thank you everyone who clicked that subscribe button, because if it wasn't for you clicking that button, I would not be so happy that I got to 8,000. So thanks again, and now I have my own little secret mission to see if I can get to 9,000. And of course that glorious 10,000 will be into 5-digit territories. But I'm not too obsessed at this stage about subscribers, maybe in a year or 3. But it's just great to get to those little mini milestones. Give yourself little rewards to keep a smile on your face every day. So, software. You want to see software? I would like to have shown you a little more today in this broadcast, because I have been working on lots of little bits and pieces. But just to let you know the background, there's some stuff that we're working on, but the longer than a week's schedule. They're like 3 and 4 weeks of tasks. And as is a habit, we're not really going to show those developments until we actually get to that last week, when we're going to release it and show you what's going on. Just to let you know that there's things related to the object library where you can select your objects and drop them into the level. That's what's being worked on in the background. Look forward to sharing the fruits of that in the next couple of weeks. But what I have acquired and I want to share, and it's related to what I've been working on, which is the texture part of the character creator and the texturing part of the importer, and of course editing textures of objects through the object properties, and making sure that you have maximum flexibility when it comes to choosing those textures, and making sure you get the best texturing arsenal when it comes to the PBR renderer under the graphics engine. So without any more waffle, I'm going to launch the software and show you the 2 things that will be in Friday's build. So this is Wednesday. This is the software that I am testing for you now, and this software will go out on a Friday with the things I'm going to share right now. You'll find the character creator is now in a temp folder at the top, so we're going to launch the character creator. There's still a few things I'm going to do. Specifically, the default male and the default female character that you'll see won't be a t-shirt guy. It will actually be set up as a combat guy. because the first genre we're going to focus on is shooter. So when you go to the character creator, you want to create characters gerbed out in order to create that combat experience. But the thing I want to show you, because you've already seen our male combat character, but I'll show you again in a little bit, is our female combat character. So right now, this is our, let's call her the Blows female. Well, I want to show you the combat version. So I'm going to select some different aspects. So I've got a hair style, I have a body to go with the hair, I have some legs to go with the body, and I have some feet to go with the legs. So we have those 4 choices, and voila, we have our this character, this sort of in where I come from, we would call her useful, and which means she's ready to engage in combat. The level she'll find herself in is a jungle level, so she's kitted out for that. And as you can see, I've already tied in all the animations, so you can loop, turn left and right, point in different directions if you're having conversations with the character. This is the walking loop, and then some more conversation things. And of course, because we're using the standard GameGuru MAX rig, I can now add some additional animations if I want to. Walk, cautious, searching. So guns out, the pistol is out, and maybe that's a little bit too fast, so we can slow the animation down. So she's walking around looking for the player, because the player is no longer nice, the player is now an enemy, and this character is going to go out and seek the player and do combat with them. So that is the character created female. I have already created, I'll just cancel this, I'll show you the male one. I gave him a beard, but it was originally designed not to have one. And he has different texture variations as well, but this is a combat guy with some armour on his chest, camo pants and camo cap. Again, he's basically what we're calling him is the military contractor. So these are native jungle dwellers. These are sort of a military expedition that's gone into the jungle, doing something probably nefarious, and these will be some of the people you're going to do combat with in that jungle level. So that's the male one, and so you're going to get this one and the female one selectable as objects, but also you can go into the character creator through the temp menu and be able to create your own variations, and we have added a few variations for you. So that's what I wanted to show you in terms of the characters. The thing I can't show you but will be in the Friday build, which I imagine might be more useful to you, some of you, than the visuals, which is a lot of bug fixes. We've gone through, we've made sure that we've hit a lot of the things that have been reported on the issues board, the stuff that we've found ourselves. So this, let's call this a sort of two-pronged update. It's the visual things, because we're adding new artwork and we'll make sure it looks right and renders correctly, but also we're now addressing some of those background things that are just a little bit niggly and annoying, and making sure those are part of the Friday build as well. And you'll be able to see what those changes are in the announcement that pops up when you run the software for the first time. So we'll let you know what those fixes were. Won't be exhaustive list. There'll be some things which are so minor you probably didn't even know they were in there as bugs, but some of the bigger fixes that you might have been waiting for. There was one bug which, through to a particular use of a lure command, could turn a level into a 10 gigabyte memory consumer, down to a single line of memory leaky code, which has been fixed. So now you can plant down lots of objects in your world and you won't get that runaway memory leak. Completely invisible, you probably never knew it was there, but super vital if you're creating larger test levels. And that's just one of many things that you'll find in your Friday build. So as is my custom, I'm now going to turn my attention to the live chat and see what questions are for me. So I'll just drag this one in. You've had an extra 5 minutes to think about questions, so I guess this was a good thing. I'm going to look for some question marks pertaining to a question related to GameGuru MAX. Here's the first question from Lustathian question. Will have in GameGuru MAX a pack for medieval RPG/survival games? Better than that, not only will you have packs in the future which may contain medieval RPG and all the rest of the goodness, we're actually going to include some core assets specifically for RPG as well. So you would be able to just get the version 1 of this product, so not version 1, the version after version 1, which would include the RPG and the puzzle elements. And then you'll be able to discover those assets, drop them in. There'll be some existing levels as well, so you could just load in an existing RPG level and play that game, and then be able to pull the assets out and use them for your own experiences. But yes, I suppose the crux of the answer to this question is we will be looking to add DLCs to support those 3 main genre types, which is shooter, RPG and puzzle. But we do want to make sure that first and foremost we've got some great levels that you can play straight out of the box, and make it super easy for you to discover assets from other asset stores and import them into GameGuru MAX and use them without having specialist knowledge about rigs and textures and scripts and things like that. So look forward to that in the future, after release that is. So looking for another question. Here's a question. This is from Ohmi Ai. Question: does GameGuru MAX will enhance a future to make local multiplayer games to play with friends that doesn't have GameGuru installed but they have the game? Completely understand that question. Can you be able to export a game that's a multiplayer game and then people can play that game without owning GameGuru MAX? We are not adding multiplayer for version 1. We've decided to focus on the single player experience and making sure that that is top draw before we move on. So if you are looking at GameGuru MAX for provide multiplayer experiences, it's probably best you look somewhere else for the time being. I don't want to create false hope. We do have plans. We've discovered Photons, a really good API to provide many kinds of multiplayer experiences. But as I said, we want to focus on, I think, the most important elements. And if we can get the single player right and it's high quality gaming experience, multiplayer can easily follow from that groundwork. So that's the plan. So hopefully that answers that question. Here's another question. Can you show us a little bit of terrain and water and environment effects? The terrain's still being worked on, and water is related to terrain, and the environmental effects is still being worked on. Obviously you've got environmental effects now. If I just select this world icon, this is what's being talked about. The environmental effects, where you can choose different skies, you can choose the lighting of your world. If I go to something like sunset, you see a nice little sunset with some light flares going on. You can choose the time of day. You know, all of these are working, but it's not absolutely finished yet. There's other things in here that we want to work on before we can say, yeah, it's absolutely finished. But certainly if you think there's something in there that should be working and isn't, because it's here and it doesn't have the little moniker which says, I'll just highlight this bit. So it says simulate running time in the game. This feature is not yet available. Every time you see that, this feature is not yet available, means we're not ready to demo it yet. We'll show you where it is and where the gadget is, and this is where you'll click it. So when you click this sun will start moving around the world, so you get day-night cycles. But because it's not implemented, we've put a little moniker in the tooltips to tell you that is indeed the case. So hopefully that is useful for you to distinguish what you can start feeding back on and which stuff we haven't actually finished yet. So there's no point commenting on some old tech if we've still got to improve it, and that's the case with terrain. And I'm really looking forward to showing you what we have in store for the terrain, but it's early days yet, and so I can't talk about it. Another question, looking for a question mark. Here's from Nomad Soul. Question: how is the AI research going? Any plans to use NavMesh? I bought a book. Unfortunately, just buying a book doesn't imbibe you with unlimited AI powers. I still have to read it, and I haven't read it yet. I think I've read the contents page, and I've flicked through to see if there's any big pictures. There's a few pictures, but not that many. NavMesh. In a way, yeah, NavMesh is just the technology. If you research something online called Detour, it's actually it's two technologies, but one of them I think is called Detour. Really nice, open source, lets you define all your nav meshes for your world automatically, and then any entity that moves within that mesh just figures out the best path based on many different conditions. It's a really cool technology, and I'm looking forward to implementing it as my solution for pathfinding and nav meshes. But there's not much progress to show at this stage. I will certainly drop a few hints as we get closer to that, and then I'd be looking forward to actually demonstrating it for real in test level experiences and showing you how they were created. But the good news is you don't have to keep dropping down floor zones. You just press a button and it just figures out everything that can be walked on, and the characters can start walking on it. Looking for another question mark, not seeing any. Lee Late question mark. Yeah, we've started. I mean, Rick, this was actually your idea. We actually put in a 5-minute splash screen. So the broadcast actually started before 4 p.m. It started at 3:55, and we run that splash screen for 5 minutes, and then we actually start the broadcast at 4 p.m. So that's the ritual. So look forward to that in the future. If you don't want the 5-minute start, please let us know in the forum comments later, and we will adjust accordingly to what people's preferences are if there is a majority vote. Here's another question. When Max became released on Steam, the price is the same for the pre-order. When Max became released on Steam, the price is the same of the pre-order. It's not released on Steam, so we can't really compare a price that we know, which is the pre-order price, and the price on Steam. But the pre-order price is 25% off, so you can imagine that the actual Steam price is going to be without the 25% discount. So hopefully that answers your question of what the future price it will be on Steam. Hopefully you understood that question. Here's another question from Super Confidential Man. Is it true you developed a game featuring a caveman who could only walk backwards? What was it called, and how may I obtain it? Yeah, it was called Uyghur the Caveman. It was written on the Amiga or on the Commodore 64. I can't remember which one. There was only enough graphics memory to have store the character to be displayed in one direction, and I didn't know how to flip sprites back then. So I designed all the levels so the caveman only needed to walk forwards, but then as I started developing the game more, I realised that I did want to explore more of the previous levels, and so the only way the caveman could actually go back to the levels is to basically moonwalk backwards into earlier screens of the game. I claim that as unique in gaming history, that you get a character that can only actually face one way. Maybe there's another game out there. But it was fun nonetheless. So yeah, Uyghur the Caveman. Try and find that on Google. Don't think I've tried to find my old games. I think it's a little bit too embarrassing. So I'm just going to wrestle with the scroll bar to make sure I'm not missing any questions in the order they were asked, because it definitely just bounced down. Here we go. Looking for more questions. Release date question mark. Please see previous 20 broadcasts. No release date yet. Open release. Yep, there you go. Nice, lovely question. Answered for you. Looking for a question. This is a new question from Werner1997. Will we be able to import a Fuse character? Yes. Yes, you'll be able to import characters from all your favourite asset stores, Unity and Unreal and Sketchfab, and mix them all. We'd export an FBX character with a rig, but you'd need to make sure it's got its own animations, because its animations and its rig is different from the character creator rig and the animations that we may provide. But if your character has all the animations that you want, you'll be able to import the character, you'll be able to append the animations, make sure it looks right, set up all the bits and bobs, drop it into your game, connect it to logic, and have that character walking or running around your level. So look forward to support for the Fuse characters. If it's still around by the time we release GameGuru MAX, they have a tendency to sort of move their tech around, close things off, open other things up. And I'm not sure if it's actually super up to date. I hope it is. It's a really great tool. Here's another question. Can I import for the character creator faces? If you create your own character parts and put them in the right places, then yes, you can expand the character creator library of parts. But you get into more techie detail though. You need to be more of a technical artist, sort of wrap your head around that. The good news is we are going to be providing guides on how to do that. All the steps you're going to have to take to create the geometry, create the textures, apply the rigs, make sure that the right scale and the right orientation, and get them where they need to be so that they're compatible with all the other character creator parts. As I said, It's very technical, but we will provide help if you are wanting to create your own character creator parts, and faces are actually part of a character creator head, so creating your own heads. Looking down for another question mark. It hasn't got a question mark, but I'm going to answer it anyway. This is from Alabfin. Can I upload my asset from GameGuru Classic to GameGuru MAX? Yes. You'll be able to just grab your raw files from Classic, drop them into Max, and they'll still be detected as entities, and they'll load in as GameGuru MAX objects. And there's another feature where you can specify a whole GameGuru Classic FPM level, and it will scan all the objects, all the assets that level uses, and try and find them in Classic and put them automatically over to Max as well, just to make your life a little bit easier for people who want to take their projects, their game making projects from Classic into Max. So don't worry about that. We're going to look forward to presenting that feature once we get further along the development. So I'm just checking out the clock. We're now at 4:22, so we're 2 minutes over the 20-minute hour. I always say we're going to take 15 minutes to do these, so I'm now 7 minutes over. But if I have been indeed late, maybe by 2 minutes, then I owe you 2 minutes. And so, but we're still going over the 20-minute mark. So I'm only going to answer the next 2 questions, and the rest of the questions will be answered in the forums. So what was the next question down? This is from Super Confidential Mech. Can we change proportions of body parts and colours in the character creator? Great question. Let's have a quick look. So if we come out, let's delete him first. Go to the character creator. We have animation tool. We've got customize all the different parts. But as you can see, there's no ability to change the colours of the character. And what was the other part of that question? Just make sure I haven't just scrolled away, because I'll never find it again. Can we change the proportions of body parts? Yeah, I think I know where you're going with this. It's like there's some really good character creator tools out there which let you change. So more muscular arms, longer necks, bigger heads, smaller legs, bigger feet. Changing the tones of the colours, change the colour of the shirt, change the colour of all the skin and all, hair and all the rest of it. Well, the short answer is no. No, if we start letting people do lilac hair and all the rest of it, we have these really nice looking characters that then they get stretched and recoloured out of all proportion, starts to look rubbish. Then people see a game with this rubbish character and says, oh yeah, that was written in GameGuru MAX and the character looks ridiculous and rubbish. So what we want to do is we'll let the artist have the control over what it looks like, but you'll have control over the choices, the different parts that get assembled and the animations that you want to apply to the character that you create. I think that will actually produce a higher quality output of games from GameGuru MAX. Now, if you did want to have different colours, and the colours that we provide, the different colour options aren't there, we will have that user information so you can go in and change and add your own textures. But then you can do it properly, you can do it in a proper way, so you're not just taking this, which isn't just green, it's lots of different colours to make up that fabric, and then make sure that when you do the recolor, you're doing it properly in respect to its original material. So you still end up with a nice looking, high quality character instead of just painting it all with yellow paint, which you just end up making it look a bit rubbish. So looking for the last question, the question that sat underneath the question about body parts, stretching and colours. And that question is from a new guy, or gal, Shell Music TV, Question or Quaternion. GameGuru MAX will have multiplayer mode like other games, not like GameGuru Classic Idea, see previous answer, there will be no multiplayer in version 1. If you're looking for GameGuru MAX to provide multiplayer features, it's best you look elsewhere. However, GameGuru Classic does have multiplayer. It uses the Steam multiplayer API, and you can play, I think it's up to 4 characters, might be 8, but I think it's 4 characters, and you can make a simple map, drop in some characters, drop in some objects, and then share that with Steam Workshop, and you can play that game, that multiplayer game, with other people who own GameGuru Classic. So that's, if you want multiplayer and you want GameGuru's ease of game creation, Classic has it for you, but there's no plans to add multiplayer into the version 1 of GameGuru MAX. So hopefully that's clear, and we'll keep answering the same. No matter how many times I get asked that question, it's going to be the same answer. I apologise. So the rest of the questions I'm going to copy into the GameGuru forum thread and answer them there. And my time here is almost up. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can hear it. I hope the new music was to your satisfaction. Yes, we changed the music. I will be here again next Wednesday at 4 p.m. GMT. I just want to remind you that we have pre-order at 25% off, and if you do pre-order and you're a pre-order customer, you will get builds every Friday. So the software I show on Wednesday, you get to download as an update on a Friday and play with all wonderful toys that I talked about and all the other stuff that we've done in previous weeks. So until next Wednesday, I enjoyed myself. I hope you did too. I shall say goodbye and see you then. Goodbye.